early August.
And welcome back to Noon Edition. It is time now to speak with our guest, Dr. Perry Bush out of Bluffton University. And let's kind of set the landscape for why State Issue 1 is even on the ballot here.
Well, Lynn, it's always good in my mind to get a little history lesson to the viewers. And back in 1912 was a major year in Ohio for rethinking its structure and its politics. And voters considered 53 different amendments to the Ohio Constitution. This is the one that they approved. And that is that set up the initiative and referendum process, in which it said, you know, sometimes there are politicians in Columbus are ignoring issues, and this gave voters the right to get a bill on the public ballot. If they got signatures, 5% of the voters in 44 of Ohio counties, they could put this bill on the ballot, and if they got a simple majority of the votes, that's the way democracy works, right. Simple majority, 50% plus one, it would pass. And that's the initiative and referendum process. It's been working arguably pretty well for 111 years. Under that basis, Ohioans have considered a whole variety of different bills, like raising the state minimum wage, indoor smoking bans, even they expressed their will about dove hunting a few years ago, as I remember, right? And well, what's happening now with Issue 1 is the politicians in Columbus are trying to revamp that. And in fact, the opponents say kill that system, in which if Issue 1 passes, it would mean you no longer need a simple majority of votes to get the bill passed by the voters. You need a supermajority. 60% of the votes you'd have to get in order to have this bill become law. And you'd have to get at least 5% in order even to get that bill on the ballot, you'd have to get 5% of the voters to sign, not just 44 of Ohio counties, but all 88 Ohio counties, which would mean if there's one county against a bill, and you couldn't get 5% of the voters in that county to sign on to this, it could kill this ever being on the ballot in the first place. So opponents of this bill are pretty worried. They see it as a fundamental structural reform that would take away an important citizens-led initiative process that's been on the ballot, been in the works for 111 years.
So that leads to the next question. What's the benefit if this does pass for those that want it to pass?
Well, I think the benefit would be it would give the politicians of Columbus more power, which they then tend to like. I mean, Frank LaRose, Secretary of State, is gung-ho for Issue 1, and he says, you know, enforcing a bill to pass with 60% of the vote, it would get a broad consensus. It would show Ohioans have a broad consensus. However, opponents point out it's not good. This is being awash, you know, being overused all the time. I mean, just listening to some analysis that since 1913, there have been 71 proposed amendments to proposed initiatives on the ballot. And only 19 of them have passed. So this is already a real difficult thing to get through. And to get 60% of the vote arguably would make that even much more difficult.
I know their advertising anyhow is, well, we don't want big corporations coming in here and starting to lay the law for the people of Ohio. But as you just pointed out, it's still difficult for them to make that happen.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get one of these things. Again, only 19 have passed in 111 years. And to get 60%, opponents of Issue 1 say, to get 60%, we really in effect would kill this process and make it profoundly difficult and take away, you know, citizen power in Ohio.
So basically, a vote no means what?
A vote no means that we have the current system, that if you get 5% of the voters in 44 Ohio counties to sign on a bill, and you need 400,000 signatures, right? Then we'd get a bill. The bill would be on the public ballot, and if it gets 50% of the vote, that's the way democracy works, 50% plus one, it would pass. That's the way it's been working now for 111 years. If Issue 1 passes, it would jump that threshold to 60%, and that's a real concern.
A lot of things for Ohio voters to keep on their minds. Thanks for kind of unpolluting the waters for us here today at noon.
Try to help, Lynn. Thanks
Dr.
a lot.
Perry Bush of Bluffton University, and don't go away. Medical news is coming up next on Noon Edition.
There's nothing better than waking up refreshed, feeling energized, and ready to face the day. It comes with a great night's sleep. Now at Francis Furniture, enjoy better sleep and our lowest prices all month on Beauty Rest and White Dove mattresses. Discover the power of sleep at Francis Furniture.
Out of energy? Tired of being tired before the day even starts? Are energy drinks and coffee giving you false energy, then leaving you drained? The answer? Ultra